You mentioned land transfer tax. Can you go into that a little bit more, a little bit deeper in terms of any exemptions, first-time homebuyers, incentives, and so on?
Yeah, absolutely. So land transfer tax is always paid by the purchaser in basically every transaction. The only way you can get out of it or reduce it is if you're a first-time home buyer. So in a transaction where your clients would see you guys, because there's other exemptions as well, and I'll touch on those in just a second, but when you're buying a house, if you're a first-time home buyer, there's a rebate of up to $4,000 based on the ownership percentage you are getting in the property. So Brian, if you and I are buying a home and I'm a first-time home buyer and we're going on as 50-50, we'll get a $2,000 rebate because we're getting half of the $4,000. If we're going on as 99% owners and 1% owners, we're getting $3,960 of a rebate, whereas your 1% isn't because you're not a first-time home buyer. If both buyers or there's one buyer are first-time home buyers, you get that $4,000 rebate. And that's where I came in, where the land transfer tax, if you're buying a $300,000 or $400,000 home, the land transfer tax isn't going to be that high. And then if you're a first-time home buyer, you're bringing that land transfer tax down by $4,000 anyways. Now, the other thing you can do is we see a lot, and we'll get to estate planning in just one second as well, but with estate planning, what sometimes people do is they'll transfer homes between family, between spouses, and those are also exempt from land transfer tax. So if, we'll use you, Brian, as well. I'm sure if you own a house and you want to bring your wife on title, she doesn't have to pay land transfer tax to be added on, because she's your spouse. It's through the loving and affection clause, as we refer to it colloquially.
Yeah, and just to clarify, if you're purchasing a home in Hamilton or basically anywhere outside of Toronto, it is just the provincial land transfer tax. There is no municipal land transfer tax.
Correct. So it's only in Toronto where you have to get hit with the double land transfer tax, where you could get whatever, if your land transfer tax is $5,000 based on your purchase price, you then have to pay an additional $5,000 to buy the house if it's in Toronto.
So y'all bought in Hamilton.
Absolutely. And there is still technically a non-resident speculation tax on the books, which again adds an additional land transfer tax on top of the purchase if you're a non-resident of Canada. However, this is, like I said, it's still on the books, but it's effectively null and void based on the foreign buyer tax